Took a little R&R. It was quite nice. Recharged the battery.
Very good. No, we're glad to have you. Unfortunately, the full crew is not yet back because since you are now here, Dustin, Patrick is on a course. But I do believe from next week we will have the full gang back in town. So looking
All right.
forward to diving into more interesting topics here.
Is he doing a course or is he receiving a course?
Or is he on a golf course?
Oh, is he on a golf?
Oh, well, question, Martin. What's the difference between doing or receiving?
Doing for someone, receiving from someone.
Oh, okay, right. So he's the instructor. Maybe. I doubt it, but he could be. You never know.
Mhm.
All right. So
Imagine
today we're
Patrick
going.
still taking courses.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what it's in. We will find out next week. We will harass and break the tension
Abuse.
here. So today we're going to dive into a few topics here. Specifically, well, I guess the topic of AI always comes up. It's just always in the news, and specifically to that is, I was in an interesting WhatsApp group, and someone posted a link to a job that OpenAI had posted to do with the Stargate project, and the job is specific to civil, structural, and architectural engineering. So we'll have a quick dive into that and what that entails, and the salary figures, which are pretty juicy. And then we maybe will talk to Dustin about how the age of AI CEOs should navigate and how he's currently thinking about it at Edify. Trunk Tools announced just a huge 40 million round, which is exciting news for the industry and everyone involved. And then we have a few guests. So we have Oramus from Dexto, who will be talking to us about prefabrication. And then we have Micah from Monumental Labs, who are building a robotics company for carving stone sculptures and ultimately creating buildings made from stone. Which, hey, is there a lot of buildings made from stone in the US, Dustin?
No.
No.
Facades, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's facades. It's not really that common, but you can have a
Yeah.
stone facade.
I guess
Yeah.
in the previous century even more, but right now it's I think it's called ACL or something, cladding and
Mhm.
glass really.
Mm. So we can find out a little bit more about there. Okay. First question then for you both. No cheating. What do you
Okay.
think is the salary of a civil, structural, and architectural engineer working for OpenAI on the Stargate project?
I mean, you said it earlier. It's below.
Not meant to say that, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean the the salary that they're looking to pay is astronomical. It's unbelievable. I don't know
Mm.
what they're
Yes.
doing.
It
Is it
is.
in the Bay Area? This the job post or not necessarily?
I'm gonna share a screen so we can have a look through it here. Yes, in San
Okay.
Francisco.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll reveal the answer, and then we can have a look through job description. So here's the compensation here. Can you see? 380 to 555,000. That's a very actually thinking of the top range, like that's very specific.
I've
555.
never I've never met a
Hmm.
civil engineer or an architect making that much money, unless it was
No.
their company, ever.
Martin, how do you
Hmm.
feel about this as someone who employs such a caliber of person?
Hmm. I think that it means for sure something that the role of architect or engineer, structural engineer, civil engineer is not going away. It is going away at some point, but not yet. So if this is high value job, then there is a demand for it. So that's good. But I guess this is very specific project and specific sets of tasks that and skill set as well that the person will have to do on day-to-day basis. So not everyone can do it. So it's far from typically salary of a typical civil engineer in San Francisco area. I read is between 66 and 97, so which seems a little bit low, thousand
Dollars?
dollars.
Oh,
Yeah,
Can you live in San Francisco on this kind of salary, Dustin?
No,
No
not
way.
well. No,
Oh.
you're sharing a room inside with, or you're sharing a room in a 3-bedroom with 2 other people.
Yeah.
I
What
just
find go on,
I'm
Dustin.
surprised this isn't like a position with the title of director of design and engineering. Like this seems like almost a VP level position, but the role doesn't say that.
Yeah. What's the exact role?
Well, that's what I was found interesting actually. I've never come across this persona before. Civil, structural, and architectural engineer. This typically does not exist in the UK, as far as I'm aware. You usually have split discipline, right? So you'd have a civil engineer, a structural engineer, and architect.
I don't know
Architectural
any
engineer.
structural engineers that are also architects. That's like because an architect has so many licenses that they have to go through versus a structural engineer and becoming a professional engineer. They're very different.
Yeah.
Maybe that's requirements for 3 persona in one. That's why so much.
Yeah.
No, but this is very specific project where there's very specific skill set required, and I guess that's
And they
the
are
reason
looking for
for.
quite a bit of experience in data centers.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
insane. 20 plus years of experience in data center designs.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
even
gonna
know
ask a
why
real
you'd want
stupid
20
question.
years of data center design, because only the last like 10 years have we been all NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Data
Plus
center design has changed a lot in 20 years.
exactly, and even by the month now, the
Right.
like the capabilities are changing. So your experience 20 years ago is going to be kind of different now. But yeah, 20 plus years of experience in data center design, delivery, and operations, proven leadership, deep technical expertise in data center systems and critical infrastructure components, strong experience with R&D, skilled in software, tool selection for engineering design.
Yeah, this is going to
ability
be a director, though. You see, demonstrates success in leading global multidisciplinary teams, managing executive level communication. So clearly, they're looking for someone that's going to build or oversee multiple disciplines.
A PE license is a plus, which is not mandatory, right? So, which is interesting because you don't have to be like a chartered engineer to do that. But I actually think that there will be more and more this type of money paid to engineers or architects at that level. But there will be very little people who can make this type of money. But as the industry consolidates and less people will be able to do more in a correct way, probably you will see this type of phenomenons that someone is paid $500,000 for their role.
Does OpenAI have a construction positions open? I'm curious. This makes me think that they want to own all their design services and not contract out to like major architectural firms.
It could
I'm
be.
curious if they also want to bring in construction management.
They do. Yeah, there's another job role here for construction manager. It could be in the UK when large developers or even companies, perhaps like OpenAI, they will have in-house people of the profession, but they're not. I think the right term is they're non-executive, so they're advising and giving ideas. That they're not actually doing the day to day. More like consultants, which come on and help push the process through rather than actually build the thing. So perhaps this is the role they're describing, but I can't tell from the job description whether that is the case here. But to me, just having a look, what it says, overseeing, leading, managing, I think it maybe is more of a consultant type role.
This is more than at major architectural firms, directors, and this is a very well compensated individual, even for the Bay Area.
Dustin, how about equity in a company like OpenAI? Do you think that's an attractive proposition for at this stage?
I mean, I would be interested in it just because, like, look, you join a role where you're overcompensated on cash, and the equity is kind of like it's an option call. You know, could it work? Yes. If it works, you're highly rewarded, and if it doesn't, well, you're still highly compensated.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There's no downside risk for anyone. This is paid like this is a better offer than you see at like this is more cash compensation than like a VP of revenue at a startup's getting. 500 if on the top end. I think VPs of revenue might command 450 to 500. This is a hefty
Plus-
offer.
Plus whatever they make as a percentage, or
Commission.
yeah.
This is more than Autodesk pays their VPs
Mm.
on a cash
Well,
basis. On a cash basis.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's why they want the top talent.
Should we look at the construction manager? Hey, so let's have a guess. What would the salary be? Martin, don't reveal that I told you.
I've not seen this one. I guess 320 if that previous one was so high.
Well, the
I've
thing
not seen
is,
this.
construction professionals for the same level are paid more. So if they're looking for the same sort of level, the construction side, it's usually more compensated.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Side teams.
Oh.
100%.
I must be biased.
Well, at least that's in the US.
Yeah. Okay, well, this one,
Hmm.
it's like
Half.
less than half. Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, half.
On the higher end, half almost. The lower end,
Construction
60%.
manager. $284,000 plus equity. This is actually funny. Location is remote. So we're not in San Francisco anymore. I think it even says Texas up here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure how you have a remote construction engineer. That would be kind of strange. But then it does say down here that this is based in Abilene, Texas.
I mean, in Abilene, Texas, that is a highly compensated.
Yeah.
That's a project
That was my thinking.
executive.
Mayor.
It's a project executive. It's not a construction manager.
Mm-hmm. But that all fits within my theory that moving forward, we will have better compensated people. There will be fewer of them, but better compensated. That's what I would guess if I was making a guess about the future.
Well, in general, that's kind of a philosophy that I try to do at my companies is I'd rather have less people and pay them well so that they're really good than more people and try to pay them less. Because more people at a lower percentile, it's usually just a disaster. It's a headache.
Yeah. Plus, more people to manage is not good.
That's true. Yeah, but sometimes someone needs to pick up the phone. Yeah, so that's there's a room for.
Mo says location is where the job is. Yeah, basically, I think what he's saying is San Francisco obviously going to demand a higher salary versus the Texas role. Do you see? So if you are a architectural firm in San Francisco and you're trying to attract top talent, you can't really. My assumption is you can't really compete with companies like OpenAI. And maybe there's some similarities with the tech world here and
I know where you're
hiring.
going.
Yeah, Dustin, do you see this? Where is it difficult because you have these big tech companies like waving massive paychecks under people's noses? Have you heard it amongst the circles that you interact with, or not so much?
I mean, for the longest time, you've never been able to compete with what Google, Apple, Facebook, Meta can offer an engineer. And so this is just another realm where you're never going to be able to compete with what they can offer from a compensation perspective. You have to appeal more to what is your mission of your company and does that resonate with the individual? And you have to find diamonds in the rough. You have to find people that with all the intangibles to get to this position, but don't have the years of experience to get that position. So that's the startup's job, right? Someone who, particularly on the 380,000 to 555,000 position for the design professional, like, and WeWork did this actually with construction. They started stealing a lot of people, and they were offering higher packages. So it's nothing new.
Still very modest compared to the Meta that gave offer to someone. What
Yeah.
was it? 100 million or
Billion,
something?
wasn't it? Total
No,
package. I'm
crazy.
sure I saw something on X earlier. I mean, whether you trust the source, they said
Meta's
the
been
entire
spending a
package
ridiculous amount of money
worth a
on their
billion.
AI poaching.
But
Yeah.
people,
So
interestingly, people are
it
not
is.
saying always saying yes either, because perhaps to your point, Dustin, they uh, they are seeing something else in the mission of other companies. Like Meta is kind of, I don't know, it's got a different brand and feel to say a company like Anthropic, and people are perhaps looking into this.
Yeah, and you also have to remember, well, what are they giving up? Well, say Meta comes in and offers them 10 million a year, they might be making 6 or 7 at Google. And so like what is the actual lifestyle change where they really know
Yeah.
what the environment is? It's not much of a lifestyle change. So they aren't
Mm,
they aren't saying no, without also having something that's equally or near equally as exciting in their pocket.
mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
Whereas
Interesting.
between 200K and 500K, there
Right.
is a lifestyle change.
That is a huge lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on from this subject. But maybe related to AI still, because last week you two were not here, so we discussed a little bit about vibe coding and how that has obviously all the hype at the moment. And I wanted to, uh, sorry for another question to you, Dustin, but I really wanted to see how you're thinking about the speed of which AI is moving at the moment. When these tools come out, when there's new technology available to build things, like how are you currently navigating? How do you see this panning out, and what's your like general sentiment around AI at this current point in time, 31st of July?
And why
So I
you're
think
not designing Edify on Lovable?
unlovable.
Yeah, and can you build Edify Lovable?
It's funny. So I think vibe coding works well for rapid prototyping. And there is so with Edify, we're building on an existing platform, which makes some of that a lot more difficult for us to those technologies for us to leverage. Um, Historically, we have not used a lot of them. We are tinkering with some of them right now and trying to figure out how to insert these on net new products, especially if they're going to be services that just are communicating with our current product. You'll see a lot more. We'll try that a lot more. But I think if I was to do a startup, like let's say because I'm a non-technical founder, there's a lot of and I've been tinkering around with some side projects on my own and using some of these to create prototypes that at least I can now go to an engineer or a designer and say, hey, now you have more than just because typically in
Hmm.
my past life, I would just create my own wireframes. But now I can create more than just wireframes. I can actually create something you can click around in and get more of an experience of what this could be. So I think it's
Mm,
tremendously valuable in that respect. Um, so I think the early innings will be compressed for and allow more non-technical people to start attracting talent to ideas. Um, so I think that'll be very helpful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Think of the
also
use
collapsing
cases.
the cost of doing basic prototyping and getting somewhere is also a great thing because
Mm-hmm.
it means more access.
It does. Um, I think the second part of your question was like, and Patrick and I have kind of talked about this. I think that there's a couple strategies with. I think every company wants to deploy AI technologies to accelerate customer adoption, dependency, and provide a better experience and just make your company also from a fundraising perspective, it's all the hype, so you get all the big bucks. Uh, but I think the strategy around I don't think I don't believe AI is a company. I think it's a tool that you use to
Mm,
service customers. And I think that I was reading some articles talking about it as well. I think that at Edify, we're first we're trying to get people to use software in the cloud to estimate their projects. So that means we need to support their workflows. And until we have their data, it's hard for us to layer on AI technologies. And yeah, we want to be the source of truth for where they keep their information for estimating the cost of a project. And that's our North Star. In lieu of us being the AI experts, we're probably going to be partnering with some AI companies to deliver them through our application rather than us build them in-house, because it'll be cheaper and more cost effective. And as we prove out concepts, we can either continue to partner via white label or something else, the AI tools that we're using, or we can start building those in-house because we know those systems work. While our core team is actually software engineers developing SaaS applications that support workflows, the AI component will accelerate how quickly you can leverage those workflows and how quickly you can get insights to make better decisions in pre-con. So that's kind of how we've been thinking about it.
Yeah, I think that's smart. And I think that's why companies like you have I don't know if the right term is upper hand, but certainly have some advantage when it comes to just being a pure AI play, because they need companies like you in order to be a product. So,
well, we can talk about one company.
Yeah.
Trunk Tools just raised their Series B.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. That was going to be one of our subjects. Yeah.
Yeah. So Trunk Tools just raised 40 million. I have the article in front of me. So my friend Sarah Buckner, she's brilliant. Just raised her Series B, bringing their funding to 70 million. Looks like it was led by Insight Partners.
Yes.
All of their investors participated, including Suffolk Technologies, which is also an investor in Edify. So, few things. I know they've been working on, I think, since 2001. So, been going at it for 5 years.
2001?
Yeah.
2021.
2020.
I was going to say, wow. 25 years, man. That's good. Impressive.
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sarah's brilliant. I know she's building a team. Their approach is quite a bit different. They want to be the AI layer but they're not owning the data. They're plugging into all of your data sources, and they want to be that layer that helps you gain insights across it all. So it's much more of like a supercharged BI tool.
Yeah.
I know they're working on now specific problems that they're going to solve with their AI model, because I saw a presentation. So I think that's a good smart move. Whereas before they were providing this AI tool and people were to use it however they want. I think solving specific problems will help especially their go-to-market team say, hey, this is how you use us. So that makes a lot of sense. But look, more money in construction tech is great. 40 million is
sounds a lot.
Yeah. Why would a company need such large funding?
Well, I mean,
you own the runway, yeah.
Building a company is more expensive than people think. Taking the money while you can, usually a good idea. I don't know the mechanics of the round or the pre-money valuation. I don't know where the post is. So I'm sure Herner investors took a long look, and the one caveat I'd say is I hope they didn't raise it too high a valuation, because that's where you can get yourself in a really tight bind, and you can have some bad subsequent rounds. I doubt they did that. I've heard good things in the market. I think we're in the very early innings, so it's a very interesting company in that I'm sure the valuation was the pre-money valuation was over 200 million. So I don't think on fundamentals you get to over 200 million wherever their revenue is, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe their revenue are growing like wildfire. So this is more on the belief that they're going to disrupt construction tech, which may or may not happen.
Yeah, mine. What's your views?
What my views are for sure. Almost everyone we spoke with had something to say about Trunk Tools. So that means that they are very popular. So speaking of customers and potential revenues, maybe that was the driver, but I have no clue. Yeah, and actually I don't know if this is like how to evaluate, is it expensive or not. So can't say much on that.
I think an interesting discussion point for us here could be that to talk about distribution as an advantage, because Sarah has a like insanely good personal brand within the industry and is great at getting herself into publications and get spreading the word of trunk tools and whatnot. And you're certainly seeing a trend within other tech, big tech, should we say, or other tech spaces about like founder-led marketing, founder-led brands, and so on and so forth. And I think even more so in the age of AI, where it's becoming increasingly easy to build products, people are now arguing that the people, like the distribution, it has become even more of a significant factor in building successful companies. So my question to you both is what you think about whether AI, as it stands right now, has exasperated the need to for founders to improve their brands, or does it not really matter?
Well, I think you that is one of the answers to why
Dusty.
there is so much money. Yeah,
I
it's
think
one
you've
of
been
the
hitting something.
yeah, it was one of the answers to why raise so much money. I do think that the industry is changing, and the more land you can grab as quickly as possible, it's much easier to retain a customer and grow within your customer base than it is to go get new customers and win new business. So moving fast is a good thing. And even if maybe it's a little expensive or everything else, you know what's more expensive? Not being successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the point in throwing 10 million at something when you really needed 20? You've just lost 10 million.
Yeah.
Martin,
What was the question exactly?
do you think that founder-led market, like the brand of the company, like, I suppose the founder in particular in this instance, is more important now with the age in the advent or age of AI, should I say?
Hmm. I don't know. I think it's always been the case that
Mhm.
charismatic people who knew their stuff, they were able to lead and raise money and provide outcomes. You know, I don't think that this has been the case in construction, because construction has been maybe less sexy industry, and now there's more, perhaps, I don't know, maybe it's a right way to put it. Maybe there's more founders and people involved in startups, and you see people who are able to do a great PR. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes, we haven't had a lot of companies, but like look at the successful founders in construction, and you guys know a lot of founders that weren't successful. Like Tui at Procore, amazing personality, inspirational character, was able to build a great business. Tracy, obviously very well spoken. She does a lot of podcasts. People love her. I'll put myself in that category. Like we had a great outcome. You take like the Fieldwire team with Yves and Javed, awesome individuals. So like all of these teams that have had these decent exits or good to great exits, they do have really good founders. So I don't think
Yeah.
you can reach like, you're not going to sell your business for 100 million plus and your founders are pieces of crap. It's just not happening.
Yeah. Can't communicate.
And Sarah is an amazing founder. She is a brilliant individual. You talk to her and you're like, yeah, she has insights and wisdom and charisma, and I can see her attracting and building talent. And so I think your founders are always important, and I couldn't tell
This
you
is
if it's changed more or less.
Yeah, it's interesting actually to see what will be driving more marketing, because my feeling that about construction has been that is not that much founder-led marketing happening, especially here in this part of the world where we are, Europe, let's say. But right now, with more um, media, Bricks and Bytes, for example, you you might see more and more people like showing what they're doing, how they're doing. Like we see like lots of videos also outside of Bricks and Bytes, of course, like people like putting out especially stuff with drones or robotics. It just very quickly grasp attention, and um, yeah,
Mm,
it's great for other people to see it and kind of fall in love quickly.
yeah. And I always say that if you have a founder that is top of mind because they're posting regularly on platforms at where their customers are, then you're going to be considered as part of a deal that they're thinking about. Like they need to buy new software, your name is always there, then you're going to be considered as part of that. Whereas if you're not, then you have a little bit more of an uphill climb to navigate. Shall we? I want to do one more topic with you both before we have our first call in, which is I want you both to. I'm testing you, aren't I, today? Hope your brain is feeling agile.
Okay.
Tell me what is wrong with this chart.
Factories are the new AI power users. Sector index growth.
Whilst they think, I'll just help people understand. If people are like not looking on video, I would suggest that they do. But if you're just listening, this is a chart produced by Ramp, which shows which industries have seen the most growth in investment into AI.
Into AI, do you mean
Yeah.
into developing the infrastructure of AI or
No, I
AI
think
and
reading the comments on here, it was like usage of AI tools like Anthropic and things like this, like software specifically.
I would actually say that like professional services um, is is much more than construction. But the thing is that I don't know what was put in this data exactly.
I
Yeah.
don't understand this.
Yeah. Well, this is what's funny because this has been doing rounds and it's obviously from Ramp, which is a company that's in the media right now and getting a lot of attention. I think valued at 22.5 billion very recently, has grown like wildfire.
We use
Um, yeah. And what this chart is showing that the construction industry compared to the second industry underneath it, which is manufacturing, has grown at 60x since 2003. So usage of AI within construction has grown 60 times. Sorry, 600, no, 1,000 times over 600 times in the last 2 years. And second behind that is manufacturing, which is like roughly 300, retail 200, finance.
Is this on a relative
200.
basis? So if like finance
Wow.
was at like 1,000 and it grew to 2,000, they would have just gone up by 2. And if construction's at a 1 and it grows to 50, that's
Exactly.
a 50x. So is it
You
on a
spotted
relative
it. You
basis?
spotted
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah, this is the issue here because what my point is, everyone is like, oh my god, construction. However, we're starting from a like way worse point. So we could say
right.
like we're putting 1 million into it, just as an example. If we're growing by 600, now means we're doing 600 million into the
Right.
industry. However, if tech was starting at like 100 million and has now gone up to 600 million, it's only gone 6x, but still spending the same amount. So it's just like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
be careful what you read.
Yeah, it's on a relative basis, which okay, I guess that makes sense. It just means construction started with the lowest, what had the initial lowest starting point,
Exactly.
which also makes sense.
But still, why would professional services drop since 2020?
Well,
Like
you think
recently.
It didn't drop.
Okay. Okay, that's like a projection. Okay, this dash line. Okay, so it's been still steadily going up.
The tech has gone down. It's going down. But yeah,
Well,
construction
probably,
manufacturing.
it's only 2 years, right? That is shown here, around 2 years. If you zoom out, this chart is straight up for all the industries. Yeah. If you zoom out like 10, 15 years chart, it is shooting up, I'm pretty sure, for all of the industries.
I don't think that would be the case in construction. Actually, it would still probably look similar to how this chart looks.
Yeah, which is shooting up.
Relatively flat, then a straight shoot. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, what are we talking about? How would Ramp know what construction is doing with AI? Like, where are they getting this information? Like, I'm just calling bullshit on this whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know. This is
It's
why I
Ramp's an
found it funny.
expense management software. What are we?
Well, that's what got me, because then people on my LinkedIn feed were reposting it like construction AI is going crazy. I was like, guys, if you look at the chart, then you should probably
I mean,
rethink that.
there is the other more probably more likely scenario is that their content marketing doesn't know what the data means and put something together, and no one reviewed it and they published it because it looked intriguing. That's about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I
And
do
also-
not know how they can tell what industry is getting more adoption of AI, like because they have a line item in their expense report for something that says .ai.
Great way of getting attention, though, if that was their aim, because now we're speaking about it.
Yeah. And we live in the world where someone says something or publishes something and no one is asking for hard data to prove it. And then you've got hypes like that running around.
Yeah. Okay, our Aramis is here from Dextal. So let's get him in. Hey, Aramis.
Hello.
Hello.
How's
Hey,
it
Aramis.
going?
It's going well.
Good. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so we're going to talk to you about your latest Series A, $15 million for prefabrication technology. Yeah, tell us more. Like, what's the product? What do you guys do? And why did you start? Why just facades?
Yeah. So it's funny. A lot of clients ask me why did I start Dextal, and the joke is that I never wanted to talk about window installation details ever again. So prior to Dextal, I co-founded and I ran a commercial window company called Intus Windows. So we built that company to a nationwide organization, and we always talked about how to install a window, which seems like a crazy question, but yeah, one thing led to another, and I decided to really focus my energy on Dextal, which is a prefab company, and we see this business sort of coming from two sides of the market. One is how we design and ultimately coordinate building exteriors. And then another side of it is like, how does the physical product looks like, how you execute the actual project. So it's really physical product and the software came into one, and that's really Dextal. And I can go on and on about it, but ultimately, that was the real premise to start Dextal.
So you're doing the physical element as well as the soft element, as i.e. the software and
Yes.
the full process.
Yeah. So Dextal ultimately became I would say an operating system for prefabrication businesses. And so it just happened that we're doing facade as our primary focus. It starts with a design and goes all the way, the entire ecosystem goes all the way until the actual physical product and physical product gets installed. So we control that entire ecosystem. And that's why we believe, that's where real magic happens. And this is how you can actually thoroughly scale this business, really controlling the ecosystem. And that's why we're starting to call ourselves that we have created this prefabrication operating system that involves both.
And mainly you operating on the new properties, on the new projects, or also on the existing envelopes?
Yeah, Martin, great question. So our main focus is new construction. Honestly, it's easier to tackle the task. It's easier to scale. It's much more go-to-market strategies are much more clear. However, we have done enough of retrofit applications where we have ultimately 3 different ways we've wrapped the buildings up to date. So we have a product that can go onto the building without a window, just like attaching panels to it. So we've done a couple projects now with New York City Housing Authority, where we have 10-story buildings, adding that panel system to it. We've worked with the state of New York. Actually, they funded some of our research, and we've developed a retrofit panel that has a full panel with insulation, with the whole thing, and it has a window installed in it too, and just going on over existing buildings. So that installation is happening right now in Brooklyn. So that's the second one. And then the third one, we have completed project, and we're actually looking at a lot of other adaptive reuse projects to date, where we had a building with occupied tenants in place. They put a temporary walls, they removed the existing facade altogether. And so we quickly went after that and installed our panels. And so that was sort of a third way of looking at the retrofit. So we've sort of analyzed all. I think some of them have pluses and minuses. Depending on a project, all of these situations can be used. However, as I mentioned again, new construction is so much easier to really scale, because it's not necessarily the application of the product itself. It's just the go-to-market, understanding who the client is, and just really gearing your sales force towards that particular application. Versus with existing building stock, it's all over the place, right? Like, there's some properties have too many owners. They're sort of a dispute of what needs to be done. You have tenants, and you have like a lot of other nuances and moving pieces around, which can create a little bit more complexity.
So I wanted to ask about this, because facades are considered like one of the most complex items on the building, from fire safety point of view, from like deflection movements point of view. It just can't, it has to be done properly and very particularly, and that's how it.
Yeah,
so
why did you start with the most difficult one?
Why did you? How did you develop a system which like one size fits all, or like what's the deal here?
So it's funny, like how I even got into this, which was in 2009, which it was prior to me finding a commercial window company. We started analyzing something related to passive house projects, and we wanted to build something more sustainable, whether in a development or construction side. And so what I saw was actually a major need for a window, because at that point in the United States, you couldn't really find a passive house certified window. So we ended up partnering with a number of facilities in Europe, and sort of one thing led to another. We created this business. It's very scalable window business. And Martin, to your question, it's a complex business, right? Like I've sort of been in this space for over a decade at that point, and what I realized that I had this light bulb moment while running the window company. So in 2000, I believe 17 or 18, one of my salespeople in Washington D.C. invites me to a meeting, and so imagine there's like 12 people sitting around the table. And as architects, developers, it's just a large project that we were supplying the products for. And so for 2 hours, and that, mind you, that was prior to COVID. So no video calls, like most of the meetings are in person or over the phone. And for 2 hours, we were talking about how to install a window. And I left the meeting dumbfounded. I was like, I cannot believe.
It's believable, man.
Right. And when I say this to an audience of, when I present this, I see all the developers and all the general contractors, they're all nodding their heads. And I was like, this is ridiculous. So I go back to the office, and my chief drafter says, Aramis, look, this is the 11th iteration detail. That means that we're 10 meetings prior to it. And I said, well, this is ridiculous. And then at that point, I also, have toured multiple job sites and visited multiple job sites, brought various clients to showcase our products, and I was really just surprised how we do business still in this day and age. It's things all over the place. It's raining, it's snowing, people are trying to work, put silicone and tapes, and it's just not the right way to do things. And so at that point I said, okay, like I have to do something. And I really wanted to see, instead of boiling the ocean, which a lot of, let's say, modular companies are trying to do, fix everything all at once. I believe the construction industry is way too complex and way too nuanced. And even in a facade, like, it's very nuanced. I said, okay, like we need to develop, and I need to come out from the window company. So I stepped out as a CEO and I started Dextol. But there's two things that I wanted to accomplish with Dextol from the day one. And it's to develop a physical product that can actually fit the projects or the market in such a way that it's much more seamless, from what we've been doing thus far. And then the other thing is, like I said, how do we fix this design and coordination process that takes forever, right? Like every project goes to 3-4 value engineering exercises. Can the architect actually start designing with a product in mind, so we really don't have to go through this? And so the day one, we started developing a software, right? So physical product and the software started all at once. And obviously the first iteration of the software, after a year, we have to throw it in a garbage because we brought in a new team. But it also gave us a glimpse of what's possible. So to go back to when you were saying, like, it's so complex, how are you able to scale this, or how are you thinking about scaling? So I'll give you another analogy. When you go to buy a vehicle at a dealership, you don't ask the salesperson to purchase wheels in South Africa, purchase engine in Germany, and purchase the other electrical components in Argentina, and then bring it all together and let's try to figure out how this is all going to come together, right? It just doesn't happen. You ultimately, but it happens with facade day in and day out, right? And so what we have developed is we've developed a chassis. So when you go to buy a vehicle, you really don't care. You sort of know that how the wheels and engine connects. This has been tested. It works. It actually, performs well. And now what I need to do is I can select the stitching on the car seats. I can select the color. I can, add some bells and whistles on this vehicle to make it more unique. And that's how we think about facades. So we've created a chassis that basically encloses the building from the water and air tightness perspective. And we've tested, it's been proven, whether you're doing a most luxury condo or you're doing the most affordable housing project, it's the same thing. However, the finishes that we put on, or let's say the window that we can put in, it varies. It can go from the most basic fiber cement panel on the outside to, let's say, porcelanosa cladding for the high-end customers. And so you get the personality or customization of the actual facade, and you can add different angles and volumetric things that really will create a uniqueness to this facade, but the chassis stays the same. Well, the problem in the facade industry is that we are reinventing those chassis on every single project. And so it's a flywheel effect, right? Because we have standardized stuff, now we can put all the standardization into the software. Now we can actually have a predictability on the pricing. Now we can actually have a predictability of how we can go from design all the way to fabrication drawings in less than a week, right? Which normally
is it always in the software?
Yes. So when the architects start designing, just having a massing, ultimately they can instantly divide the building in a panelization in that, whatever the division is based on reducing the most amount of waste, centering the windows within the panels and so forth. And then once they start selecting different cladding options, our system actually gives them the price point. So they know exactly how they're working within the budget constraints. And so they understand every facade design decision actually has an impact on the cost. So instead of going this back and forth million times of iteration of the facade, because the architects don't see the end of the supply chain, we give them this visibility immediately. And so once they lock in the design, we can automatically produce shop drawings and we can automatically produce fabrication drawings, which is really unheard of in our industry. And so that way we take what normally would take 36 months, we bring it down to less than a week. So ultimately, we've created a software that we have used ourselves for years now, that we've improved, sort of like a battlefield tested. And now we're actually bringing that software and we're going to be distributing to architectural and design firms so they can actually start really thinking about the design from slightly different lens, right? Like instead of just throwing some random stuff as a placeholder, we give them a visibility to do something that it would even do at the earliest stages that would take 30, 40 days to do. They can do that in less than a day.
Yeah,
and have that full connection to physical product. And so right now what we have seen in the industry is that software and the design part is sort of on its own. A lot of cool stuff is being done there. No connection to physical product. And the physical product, especially like prefab companies, a lot of times are either mom and pop or like very regional and local companies that really don't spend too much money and resources towards software and the design. And so those two things always stay in their own planet and silos. And so what Dextel was able to do was able to connect the two.
Cool. Hey Armas, thank you for coming. We have to cut it right there because we have someone else coming in. But
yeah,
congratulations. Thanks for teaching us about the product, and yeah, good luck.
I really appreciate it. It was great talking to you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, now we have Micah. Let's go. Hey, Micah.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, nice to meet you. How's it going? Can you hear us?
Hold on, let me get my volume up. Yes.
Awesome. All right, cool. Yeah, Micah, so thanks for coming. You guys just raised a very interesting product, actually, which is slightly unconventional too. But you guys just recently raised a $7 million seed round to build buildings out of stone, but in a slightly unconventional way. So do you want to explain to us what it is?
Yeah, we're building AI-enabled robotic stone carving factories. They are powered by robots. They're manned by lots of craftsmen who are working alongside the robots to turn everything into a beautifully handcrafted piece of architecture or art. We are automating more and more of this process to bring it to a price level that can compete with other building materials like concrete and steel. And our ambition is to make it possible to have a golden age of architecture and bring beauty back into our built environment.
Just a quick one before we go a little bit deeper. Just tell us about the experience of, I saw a video of you building the robot for Stripe. Sorry, the sculpture for Stripe, not the robot, obviously. Yeah, how did that come about?
Oh, almost exactly 1 month before their conference, somebody who was managing the conference said, "Hey, we want to have a sculpture. Actually, we want to have a robot. Can you bring a robot here?" I said, "No way, but I can give you a sculpture." And they said yes. And we went 30 days from nothing to full design, fabrication, hand carving, delivery from New York to San Francisco, and got a sculpture into their conference.
Wow.
Very cool.
So what's the secret sauce behind the robot? Is it like how does it shape the sculpture or like a finished piece of stone?
The robots you're seeing today they're old technology. They're 7-axis CNC robots. They've been around for a while. The technology's been improving relatively. You feed it a model. It doesn't have vision. It simply knows where it is in the XYZ plane, and we program the robot to do everything, all the tool paths that we want it to do. We select the tools, we select all the feeds and speeds, and then we press play and it goes. What we're working on now is actually automating that process. Give it a model, have AI determine the best tool paths, the optimal tool paths, and to do it instantaneously, so we're not waiting around and waiting a long time and bottlenecked by our programmers. What I'll say is like it can take like 10 days to do a life-size sculpture in marble, or 5 days to do a large Corinthian capital. But those sometimes take 2 or 3 times as long as that because we're just catching up on programming. Once we've automated that, that's the first step. We're going to take it to the next step. We're going to automate creation of dimensional pieces of blocks of stone for construction. We're going to have basically a gigafactory where you'll have these robots, these cranes that are picking up pieces of stone and seamlessly moving them about the facility, like a NASCAR team that's changing the tires on a car. And once you do that, the main cost of building in stone comes down tremendously. We think we can actually drop the cost of fabrication of stone by 90%, because what that cost is today is all human cost.
What's your guess on the timescales?
Yeah, it's timescale on having that ready.
90% reduction in cost. Yeah.
Give us 5 to 10 years. I think we'll be there. It won't all happen in our factory in Brooklyn. We're going to be building large factories across the country, mostly where the stone that we want to use exists. So places like Indiana, Texas, Utah are places where they have beautiful stone that can be used for the construction industry. We can pull it out of the ground. It's already there, manufactured for us for free, this material. Our robots and our software will automatically figure out what to do with that stone to turn into the models we want. And we'll have this continuously running 24-hour, 7-day-a-week process that's just pumping out buildings.
Wow.
Dustin, what's your business model?
Is the path kind of dual where you're going to have like preset designs that people can more readily purchase, and then if you want customization, you'll work with the client in order to help them?
Yeah, just historically, all the beautiful pre-war buildings we appreciate today, many of those, especially if you're looking at like middle-class housing or tenement housing, those were just standard examples of a cornice or an entryway, and we can just pump those out even when we don't have an order and just wait for somebody to buy them, and those can be cheap. And then you want to put a little customization into it, great. Like it really only takes once you've made the fabrication largely automated. There's a couple of things that cost money. There's the design. It doesn't have to be lots. It could be thousands of dollars. It could be $1,000 to just modify an existing base. There is hand carving at the end. The one thing about stone is if you really want to build some really beautiful things at a super high-end art level, you're going to be doing a lot of hand carving. And that's for clients who want to spend that money. There's always going to be places like the Frick collection that we're always going to, Henry Clay Frick was going to spend his money and put handcraft into his buildings. Then there's, the apartment building down the street that just wants to get it done for a reasonable cost and look pretty good. So we'll be spanning all of that.
I love this because when I think of some of the most beautiful buildings in the world that I've ever visited, there's stone actually.
Oh yeah,
stone. I mean, if you ever go to the
Vatican, 100 years old.
Yeah, if you ever go to the Vatican and you step in there and you look around, you're like, we would never create anything like that building, which was built over hundreds of years. And then you think of some of the Gothic architecture and some of the stone carvings, which are unbelievable. I don't even think, tell me if I'm wrong, Mika, I don't think we even have enough stone artists available to do any of this anymore. Yeah. It's probably a lost craft.
That's your issue, right? It's not even just cost; it's availability of the
right
who know this practice. And the couple of dozen or so, we know most of them. A lot of times we're working with them. what we're actually doing, what's cool is the robot enables this whole new economy. People couldn't afford it before. Now all of a sudden we're hiring 30 carvers. Most of them haven't had that much experience with stone. Some of them have, but most of them are art students, people who've been working in clay and terracotta and in glass, and they want to learn, they want to learn to work in stone. And it doesn't take that long for them to get competent, and it takes several years for them to get, at least maybe 5 years to get to expert level. But we're actually bringing back that group of skilled artisans.
Now, with the CNC machine, is there a level of resolution that can't reach, and then you have to have that expert artist come in there and make those highly detailed things that make it so texturized and beautiful, and like you get up close and you're just like, you feel some emotional attachment?
And that's why the fine art stuff is always going to be really expensive.
Right.
Because we'll do 2 weeks of milling, and then we'll do 2-3 months of hand carving.
Yeah, but that still accelerates the process.
Yeah, it's
exponentially.
marble. Now, the great thing about construction and building construction and basically like architectural ornament is it was always done out of limestone, which bruises less, which is easier to sculpt. It's 30 feet up, or it's 40 feet up, or it's 100
Right.
feet up. It really doesn't have the level of detail or fine finish that a fine art piece in a museum would be. And so if you walk around New York and you look up, you're going to see actually there's a lot of stuff, but it's not all perfect. It's just kind of bigger, chunkier forms. So a lot of that architecture stuff can be 90, 95% done by a robot, just finished in the end, just to get a little sharp edge on it. Our tools are rounded, so you don't get that sharp edge. So you'd come in there and a guy would come with a chisel and add that edge and make those shadows and those undercuts that you don't get with the robot. But in the larger equation, it's not that much money to have those people do it.
I love this.
Are there currently machines that do what you want to do, or current way of doing these architectural models and sculptures is through like chisel and hands?
This idea of using robotics to help carve stone originated in Italy, maybe about 10 years ago. It's been rather, and it's grown a lot. It's been rather limited to just the high-end art world. The Italians haven't really gone global and brought this into a scale that can be used in the building environment. And I think that was our original insight: is all this stuff can be repurposed and brought into our built environment.
Michael, what's the process? So you're operating the factories, but is there a separate party that is then responsible for installing the stone in its final place, or do you offer that service too?
Yeah, right now, you have your masons, you have your installers, you have your restoration companies that are handling the labor there. Oftentimes, that's a big impediment to getting this into a mass market situation. What we're doing, the next step, today we're small scale. We've been working on ornament, sculpture, adorning buildings, not building entire buildings. And we're going into the process of scaling up to do entire buildings, including the facades, all the cladding, and in fact, all of the structure. And the way that structure will be done is not the way it will be done in 1870. You're not going to have a mason having to stack stone on top of each other and use mortar to keep it together. Which is also relatively inefficient. We're going to be using post-tension stone. We're going to be making everything in our factory prefabricated. You drill holes, we run steel rods through it, and we tension them. And when you do that, you can ship entire units to the job site, and you'll have these metal brackets on the back that you can basically latch into place. And you'll have a team that knows how to install these things, but it's not going to be putting up brick by brick like it was. It's going to be.
It's like a precast panel.
Yeah. But you'll do it.
If I can have
like
a bathroom
instead of like 2 columns and a lintel all at once, and it's really just using crane to hoist it into place and place it down and ratchet it into its final position.
So the reason it's used to be brick by brick is because brick is light and everyone can hold it and put it. What about the stones? The stone is very heavy. I don't know what's the density.
Hey, did you see the size of humans back then, Martin? They're much bigger and stronger.
I don't know that. Yeah. So how
do you think they built the pyramids, man?
The pulley system is a hell of a system.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
cranes.
How do you?
We'll need cranes. It's actually a huge issue for us. In New York City, for instance, they make it very, very expensive to use a fixed crane. And it means New York City will probably not be the place where we debut a large-scale reinforced stone building. It will take place probably where regulations are a whole lot better. So places like the Sun Belt, Texas, South Carolina, where we can get those approvals and don't have some of the early issues that we're going to need to fix over time.
Cool.
It's actually probably some sustainable benefit of using stone, I guess, right? I guess there's lots of stone which can be used
natural
in the
material.
world.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's all under our feet. We just have to go get it.
The carbon footprint is lower than almost any other.
We produce zero carbon. Well, we have to take it out of the ground, and so there's electricity to take it out of the ground.
And transportation, of course.
And transportation, and you hope that gets cleaner over time anyway. But compared to taking that stone, crushing it, mixing with sand, creating cement, which is the byproduct is CO2, we're talking about, if it's local, the stone is like a 98% reduction in carbon emissions over concrete. If you're talking about transporting it from far away, it drops to more like 70% reduction in carbon. So we'll figure out ways to make transportation cleaner. We'll figure out how to get closer to the source of the stone. Being local would be awesome, just not only for the environment, but for the basically the local texture of every city. You go to southern France, has southern French stone. You do East Coast, it's all Indiana limestone. You go West Coast, there's beautiful Utah stone out there, and sandstone in California. And it'd be great to have every place have a local texture.
We're going back to Middle Ages.
If I wanted to buy a sculpture from you, I'm seeing your website. Can I, as an individual?
Yeah. Well, we're booked up until we're at our new factory. Okay. We are way overbooked on we only have 2 robots now. We're going to 10 plus robots in the new space. So we'll have a little more room in the winter. But yes, absolutely. We can chat with you about what you want, talk about size, budget options. Do you have an idea yet? Are you ready?
I'm not ready, but I definitely want a sculpture.
He wants a sculpture of himself in front of his door.
Yes, because I'm very vain.
It's much easier. People have had a very hard time getting sculptures of themselves, but the wives and the kids are very, very popular.
Awesome. Oh, that's cool. I like
what
it.
What about the pets? See a lot of people.
Pets are also huge. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Michael. Well, thanks for sharing. Very interesting product, and
very
luck.
That's very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. I definitely I want one of my my dog who passed away. Love that dog.
Yeah, that's cool. I never thought about that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, there was a video of them carving out a sculpture of someone holding a striped credit card, and he actually gave it like he explained, and that's what I just watched before we went live here.
It makes a ton of sense. The CNC machines have been able to do this for a while. You feed them the XYZ coordinates. AI over the top allows it to optimize over time. And then if you want some really, really beautiful architecture, you have that expert come in and finish it off.
Yeah, I really like it. The only question is when we're talking about CNC for steel, there is a clear, a gigantic market for structural steel, architectural metalwork, and a bunch of other use cases. Within stone, there is, I guess, promise that the cheapness is or lower cost of creating will generate some more demand for the future, because it's a very exclusive product. I would say that these machines will be doing, these robots will be doing. Would you agree or not?
I think they might be they're kind of divergent businesses. Like he's talking about using stone as the exterior of the building versus a lot of these architectural and ornamental stone elements. I feel like they're not necessarily aligned, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't understand the process of building these stone panels versus building these architectural pieces of work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Martin, you were saying that you think that it would basically democratize ownership of beautiful stone. Is that what you were saying?
No, what I'm saying is that for steel, there is so much of a demand for steel structures and architectural metal work that for a CNC machine that deals with steel is very obvious that it had to happen, and it happened a few decades back. Yeah. However, with stone, no one has came up to this idea like these guys
Yeah.
are doing right now. But what I'm saying is that the products that these machines will be creating, is more high-end side, and it's not necessary to have it. Yeah, it's a premium
Yeah.
product. That's
Oh,
why the question is about the market, and like if they create the demand by the fact that they decrease or collapse the cost of doing it, maybe perhaps.
Yes. Yeah, and also I suppose they have to get around the resilience of people to try new things. Everyone's used to steel and concrete; they know how it works. So why would they take a risk on building something in different material?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
the
totally
structural
possible, but
component.
yeah, something to be considered. Also, what's a personal experience I've had with working on projects where people have requested sculptures is they want the
From Italy.
sculpture. Nice. Anyway, they want a specific sculptor to do it for them, and these are people. This is probably not their target market, but people who are very wealthy. They want the name of the sculptor to build the sculpture for them. They wouldn't just go and buy it from a company that is like building them as a product. Say so. I think that it's something to think about, perhaps for their go-to-market. No,
Yeah.
that's very interesting, novel, and
Yeah.
a very, very cool take and angle to the industry, indeed. Okay,
Robots
guys,
are taking over.
robots is getting huge. I think that there's a lot more investment going into it now too.
Dustin, where will you have a robotic estimating agent coming out of the Edify
Someone who
factory?
sits there for the sake of sitting there.
trying to think of what we're going to call our AI agent. I feel like you have to have a name for it now.
Big
Edif.
choice.
Yeah.
Ed. Wow.
Ed?
Eddie.
Edify.
Yeah.
Edifies Ed.
Edif. Edifeats it.
Cool. Well, I have no other topics, so should we wrap this up?
Yeah, it's good to be back.
That's-
Missed y'all.
Man, it's good to have you.
Yeah.
Next week we'll have the full crew, and we will do a very special episode,
Very special.
whatever that means.
Yeah.
Very special because of full crew.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much.